Welcome, Aquarius, to the month of May 2018. I'm Megan of North Star Astrology, and this is another general transits reading for those of you born with your sun, moon, and or rising signs in the fixed air sign of Aquarius. Aquarius, the water bearer. Okay, now the month starts out with Mars sextiling the moon in your 10th house. So from the 12th house of the subconscious mind to the 10th house of career and public standing, you have a beautiful, harmonious 60-degree, short distance, pleasant and positive energy from what you can tap into over here emotionally to your or toward your career. Then on May 4th, your ruling planet Uranus trines the moon. Once the moon goes into your 11th house of friendships, where you naturally reside, Aquarius, to the 3rd house of communications. So now we have the moon trining Uranus, your ruling planet, Aquarius, and here you are in the 1st house of the self and the physical body, and this makes up the house of the spiritual body, or this does too, but this is the higher mind, this is the conscious mind, the 3rd house of communications. And with your ruling planet Uranus in your 3rd house of communications, this is why it's a very harmonious trine from your emotions to how you communicate in a most profound and or unique way in your communications, maybe with perhaps siblings and neighbors and etc., and maybe writings and stuff like that. So then on May 6th, your ruling planet Uranus squares the moon. Once the moon goes into your 12th house of the subconscious mind and then squares the 3rd house of communications. So now there's a bit of maybe like a troubling time in, say, your dream state, as this is the time to kind of reflect, as the 12th house is the Piscean house. And so you may have some troubling dreams. Then on May 8th, the last quarter moon occurs in your sign at 17 degrees Aquarius, 27 minutes, in your 1st house of the body and the self. And since it's going through its last quarter phase, moon phase, this means that you will experience a need to maybe make those last minute decisions about what you want to do with your maybe perhaps exercise routine or something to do with the body, like not quite sure. Maybe you're getting the last bit of dental care or something. And then also on May 9th, Uranus, your ruling planet, sextiles the moon. So from your first to your third houses, you now have yet another harmonious, yet short distance 60-degree aspect of what you or how you communicate, as Mercury is the planet of communications, which is awesome that it's in your third house of communications to start out with. And so that happens at 3 hours and 12 minutes into the day. Then, when the moon goes into your second house of money, into Pisces, the second house of money and what you value, the moon then, or Mars, then squares the moon. So, excuse me, Mars sextiles the moon. I'm just waking up. I had a late night. I did Capricorns late last night. Okay. So now Mars sextiles, lots of sextiles this month. Mars sextiles the moon from the 12th house to the second house, so you can tap into your subconscious mind again, as Neptune is right here along with the moon in Pisces. Neptune rules the 12th house, rules Pisces in other words, and so now you can definitely tap into your subconscious mind for any kind of financial matters. And that happens on May 9th. And then gosh darn it, that happens on May 11th. Then on May 13th, Mercury leaves Aries and enters Taurus into your fourth house of the home. And Mercury is, for me anyway, Mercury's coming out of its shadow period of the retrograde, but thankfully it's direct, I think. Okay, so anyway, Mercury on May 13th leaves Aries, goes into Taurus, and another fixed sign, this time fixed Earth, and then the moon on the very same day, May 13th, the moon enters your third house of communications, joining along with and conjuncting your ruling planet Uranus. And so now here we have almost like a close-knit, now you can really shed or illuminate how you express yourself in unique and I can't think of the word, pioneering ways. You might say pioneering ways. That's the word I was trying to think of. Then on May 15th, your ruling planet leaves Uranus in Aries, enters Taurus for the next 7 years. And the reason for that is this planet, the planet Uranus, that governs earthquakes and all things electric and sudden and spontaneous, now takes a turn or a trip for 7 years, as the reason for this is that it is an outer planet. So now there's far-reaching, in other words, this planet is going to be transiting your fourth house, Aquarius, for a full 7 years long. And it's hopefully going to stabilize your home life, as it's in the fourth house of the home, but you'll experience sudden happenings in your fourth house of the home, hopefully good, like sudden moves or something. But this is going to go on for the next 7 years. Now, the following day on May 16th, Mars leaves Capricorn and goes into your sign, Aquarius, in your first house of the self and body. So now you will be able to take super assertive action. And so that happens on May 16th. On May 15th, I so apologize about this, okay? On May 15th, as well as the planet, your ruling planet Uranus, the moon went new. You had a new moon. So new things, new planet change, or new planet transit. Okay, so now that the moon is new, as well, there was a trine when Mars was in the 12th house. There was a trine from your 12th to your 4th houses. I did that with Capricorn last night. I was so tired. I've been exhausted. Okay, trying to get enough sleep. Okay, that is my dog drinking her water. If you can hear that, I'm sorry. Okay, you get enough there, Gretel? Okay, now on May 17th, and she shakes every time she drinks her water. Okay, so now on May 17th, the moon goes into your sister air sign, Gemini, an air sign that's a mutable air, and conjuncts Venus at 21 hours, 48 minutes. So like approximately 10 minutes to 2. And then, and I guess this then creates, from the flavor of the new moon that I apologize not setting up, this then creates new and sudden intellectual romantic connections or creative endeavors. Then on May 19th, Venus in Gemini leaves Gemini and goes into Cancer, into your 6th house of work, health, and service given. And I sincerely apologize about this glare, but I can't do anything about it. I need the light to be able to, for you to be able to see this on camera. And anyhow, now you have the love of whatever you do as work, once Venus leaves Gemini, going into the 6th house, your 6th house of work, as you have Cancerian, the sign of Cancer in your 6th house. Then on May 19th, as well, the moon moves into your 6th house in Cancer, then sextiles the sun, bringing you a very harmonious energy in maybe the ability to work from home over your computer, and or emotionally have that little bit of respite or time to enjoy and love your work and shine at home with your family or significant other, whichever it may be. Then on May 21st, the sun leaves Taurus and enters Gemini in your 5th house of romance, see the hearts, and creativity. And then the moon then goes into your 7th house of relationships on the same day that the sun changed signs, and the moon squares Jupiter in Scorpio. So now from your significant relationships, such as business partners, to your colleagues and or associates in your career, you now have the impetus and the great ability to use what you have emotionally, what you've learned, in other words, from the beginning of the month until now, to have the impetus to ask for a huge promotion in your career. Oh, and by the way, if I've failed to mention, I don't quite know enough about how to express the karmic north and maybe even south nodes, but you probably most likely have the south node affecting your 1st house if the north node in Leo is in your 7th house. And hopefully for your sake that's not going to be a difficult thing. Okay, so then on May 23rd, or excuse me, on May 22nd, the 1st quarter moon enters your 8th house of other people's resources in Virgo, and then trines Pluto. So now from your 8th house to your 12th house, the Scorpion house naturally residing, to the Piscean house naturally residing, but here Pluto in Capricorn and the moon in Virgo, practically grounding but harmoniously seeking other people's resources and manifesting them in a transformational way. Woohoo! Okay, then the moon goes into your 9th house, where it's most comfortable. Well, in my case it is, because that's where my moon is. In the higher mind, the moon there in the higher mind, for me it causes fluctuations, but oh well. The moon then squares Pluto. So now air, cardinal air to cardinal earth, here you now have a square from your 9th to your 12th, which can cause a bit of tension among any kind of higher educational matters that you may have been trying to or are trying to seek, or any kind of long distance travel agendas or itinerary, whatever it might. There might be a little bit of yeah, I don't know, I'm just saying. And then on May 28th, the only opposition of the month happens when Mercury opposes the moon in Scorpio. So now Mercury has been in Taurus all this time, but on May 28th, at least for now, you have an opposition, an awareness point, as I like to say, from the 4th to your 10th, or from your style of communication, and in this case, you'll have an interesting style, or a unique style since Taurus. Now you'll have an awareness point of how you've been communicating, and emotionally be able to set forth in great, as I said, pioneering ways before Mercury then leaves Taurus and enters Gemini in your 5th house of romance on May 29th. Then the moon becomes full at 8 degrees Sagittarius, 10 minutes into the day. And this then wraps up my reading. I apologize for the flubs. As I said, I'm oh my god, quite exhausted. However, I still have kept my sense of humor. I have an ultrasound tomorrow and I'm nervous. I don't know. I may have a hernia. Yeah, I'm not in pain or anything, but I just thought I'd mention that hopefully April showers brought May flowers, and this is my sense of humor about whether or not you are here, or maybe you're here as just as your ruling planet. So thank you, Aquarius. Please feel free to like, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. Feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month.